I've always said that the Indian government does act based on some of the inputs that it receives from channels such as PGurus. I'm not saying I am the only one who caused this, but it is good to see that something that we suggested is actually being enacted out in the form of a law to prevent online betting, especially for the youth of India, because a lot of dangerous trends are emerging. I've been saying this for a long time. In fact, my book, Who Painted My Lust Red, tells you about what happens in the match fixing. I mean, the main curbs here affects cricket because that's where the most amount of betting is, but there are other games also that betting is going on, and even that will be checked with this new law. What does this mean for you and why this is essential, especially for the younger generation, will become apparent to you when you watch this slide deck. As always, a small request, please like this video, and if you have not already subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to our channel. Here we go.
I like the treatment here. It's very relaxing and being with the nature.
The most powerful facet that I've experienced here is the power of human touch.
India enacts Online Gaming Act 2025. So India has passed this Promotion and Regulation of Online Gaming Act 2025, which was enacted in the Parliament in August 2025, just a month ago, and officially took effect on 1st November. We are recording this on the 2nd of October, and it is already in effect today, which means that moving forward, no more betting on games, outcomes, and so on and so forth. What does it do? It bans all forms of online money games, including those based on skill and chance, which means cricket, but promotes and regulates esports and social gaming. I'll tell you what I understand by that in just a moment. The Act aims to protect users from fraud and addiction, curb money laundering, and foster India as a global hub for esports and game development. What is esports? You know how we have this Fantasy 11 and you can create your own fantasy team, and then you can join a website, and then your team plays against somebody else's team. And of course, there are some rules in that. If you pick Rishabh Pant, the team that you are playing against it, those people don't pick Rishabh Pant, things of that. And this is all fantasy league. This is very popular in the United States. And then they have things like who is doing a better prediction based on how a particular season plays. Like, for example, when the next IPL comes along, you would be able to create your own fantasy league, fantasy team with your friends and follow how your players are doing. And based on that, your team automatically gets weighed up or down. This is something that's fairly common. This does not involve any money. It just involves how you are reading the situation and how you are forming your own team. These things are good, but the point this law makes very clear: no more money on online betting. This would mean bad news for many people who have been promoting it, and I'm going to tell you about much of that here. Now, poker, rummy, fantasy sports or betting apps are now deemed illegal when it involves money. Viewers, that's what the thing is, when it involves money. Individuals or companies operating such platforms will face strict legal consequences. The Act distinguishes between harmful money-based games and harmless recreational gaming. This is where the thing is. So you can ask, so what is in it for somebody who creates a recreational game where there is no money involved? Well, the point there is that you can advertise products. There's nothing wrong in that. That's how you make money. How are you making money on YouTube today? That's what you're doing, or TikTok, right? You can advertise your channel, your products, and so on and so forth, and that's how you make the money. So this is still allowed. I don't think that is being forbidden. All it is that you cannot charge money for events, because that's where the mischief comes. Esports, competitive video gaming, social games, and casual online games are actively encouraged and promoted. The incentives may be provided by developing India's esports ecosystem, including events, tournaments, and training facilities. Now, there is a regulatory framework and overseeing of this entire thing. Since it's already passed into law, so there must be some rules. Those things will come into effect very, very soon. And a proposed National Online Gaming Commission, NOGC, may be created to license, monitor, and enforce compliance. State governments may collaborate with the central regulator for localized enforcement. By the way, DMK tried very hard to come up with some of these online things, and I think Indian government has been holding strong and saying no way. So these are all some of those things where some of these governments who think that they can, skim money by doing online games, all that stuff has been nixed. Now, what are the penalties and legal consequences? If you are engaging in advertising and facilitating illegal money, this is punishable. Now, how you can ask, because supposing you are running a virtual private network, and then what happens is your geography gets hidden, then you could still be able to bet. I think these are all some of the things that India will need to find out how to catch that, and that is still a loophole in my opinion. At the same time, it is really slow going through a virtual private network to identify yourself as somebody that you are not, and then go and play or bet. It's a little bit more complicated. At least at the money point, you should be able to check it. Let's see how that plays out. Okay, penalties include imprisonment, monetary fines, and business license cancellations. Repeat offenders will face enhanced penalties, signaling a zero tolerance approach. Now, this is where the kicker is. The banks, the transactions, this is where you can actually check and see what is happening, because in betting, you would almost always involve money. Either you are getting it, or making it, or you're paying it, right? So all banks, payment gateways, and other financial institutions are barred from processing transactions related to real money games. As to how they are going to be able to differentiate between a real transaction versus a real money game transaction, I don't know. This is something that the PayPals of the world and Paytms and all the others, they'll have to figure it out. Now, there will be strict monitoring of digital payments to prevent illegal gaming transactions. Hawala and other illegal channels face additional scrutiny. Now, this is something that is going to be difficult, because from 2014 onward, Dr. Swami, myself, and many of us have been saying that you need to shut down these Hawala brokers. Once you shut them down, everything will fall in place. Unfortunately, this is easier said than done. Even inside India, if you want to move like a lakh rupees, it is very difficult, because if you are transcending boundaries of state, sometimes you never know, you'll be subjected to checking. Suddenly somebody will ask you, why are you carrying so much money? And you have to explain all these things. So people avoid the hassle and say, okay, you want so much money delivered in this city, I'll take care of it, right? And there is some kickback or adjustment in books or something of that nature. This has worked out well in India, and somewhere that needs to be broken, because that is also one form of Hawala. Advertising ban, actors, actresses, stars, sports stars, anybody who are prominent, they are being told there is a complete ban on advertisements of real money games across print, digital, OTT, and broadcast media. Influencers, celebrities, and marketing agencies face penalties if they endorse or promote such games. This is a clear message to all the actors, actresses, and influencers. Don't do this. Now, what is the background and rationale for all this? What has been happening is the gaming addiction is growing among the youth, and it is causing psychological stress, debt traps, and family disputes. The act seeks to reduce exposure to addictive, money-driven gaming platforms. I'll tell you one thing. Many people, especially in tier 2, tier 3 cities, which is where much of the population is beginning to understand the attractions of all these things, they believe they can make a living by being a trader on the stock market, or just by betting and checking the outcomes and making money without doing actual work. Now, this may be okay for people with disposable income, but if you are thinking about making this as a career for life, no, that is bad. And that's what it is seeking to curb, because sometimes what happens is family tensions will rise when they see that the children are going and involving themselves in these things and not really doing any productive stuff. That raises tensions in the families. So this is an attempt to nip it in the bud. I would be curious to know how well it can be enforced. Also, looks like there are instances of misuse of gaming platforms for money laundering, terror financing, and cross-border illegal transactions. This act seeks to ensure that India's digital space is not exploited by such malicious actors. So one of the things that I can think of that they may do is that they may firewall India from other countries. So if you look at the IP address, then you don't allow people in. It's possible, but it again requires a lot of back-end services for enforcement. I'll be curious to see how this plays out. And I'll keep you updated on this. There's 6 months and a year's time, we will know. By banning money games while promoting legitimate online gaming and esports, the Act encourages responsible digital growth and provides certainty for investors and startups in the esports and casual gaming sector. So what is the big picture? The Act positions India as a responsible global player in digital gaming revolution, balances the need for protecting yourself, populations, while allowing innovation in safe, skill-based entertainment and esports. Remember, we talked about that one game, Mumukshu, that Sahil Shirke had talked about, and PGurus. Do look it up. That's a game that the Indian government is promoting. It marks a paradigm shift from unregulated gambling style platforms to structured digital gaming ecosystem. I mean, you could have new games coming up. Why should you always be playing cricket? Or you could have like six-a-side cricket, an online game where 6 players come together and form one team, and you play against another a set of 6 players who form other teams. And there must be some way to show making shots, bowling bouncers and things like that. Could be a very interesting game. I'm not following this space very closely, so I would not know the level of technology that exists right now, but I'm pretty sure that this is not something that is very difficult to do. We are a cricket crazy nation, and at the same time, while that craze is there, you can do some harmless activity, and instead of going out and betting money, you can form your own cricket teams, be your own player, do things like that, which is going to be a similar and enriching experience for those who want to pursue that. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.